to this edition of Mornings. I'm Zach Arsalan.
And I'm Carlos Puentes. Today is Tuesday, February 10th, and E-Day here at North Penn High School. Mr. Brumbaugh is here to challenge your knowledge on the Stanley Cup.
Hey, welcome to this week's Brumbaugh Challenge. With hockey season in full swing, here's a great question. What caused the cancellation of the 1919 Stanley Cup Championship? The answer when we get back.
With over 3,000 students at North Penn High School, there are 3,000 unique life stories.
Lauren Schwartz profiles one of those in this segment.
Thanks, Carlos. Athletes often have to come back from injuries. Most of the time, the injury is obvious because of a knee brace or crutches. However, North Penn diver Madison Tanis came back from something you wouldn't know by watching her dive. It's challenging to find a high school student that is in all aspects as determined and resilient as Madison Tanis. A senior at North Penn High School, Maddie is an elite diver whose outstanding skills and character have allowed her to achieve great success. Voted a captain of the swim team this season, Maddie knows how difficult it is for a diver to receive that title.
Diving, it's a smaller community definitely than swimming, because swimming you're always working out with each other, you're always in the lanes together, and diving's kind of separate in our pool because of the well. And so it's just nice to be appreciated because divers are normally looked over.
She's made the most out of her first 3 years on the diving team and plans to continue the trend in her final year.
This will be my 4th year on the team, 4-year varsity this year. And then I went to states last year and placed 6th. And I went my sophomore year and I went there, which was all I wanted to do that year. And then this summer, actually, I started with a junior Olympic team, and I went to nationals this summer on 1 meter in Tennessee, which was awesome. And then I signed to the University of Findlay. It's out in Ohio, and I'm really excited about it.
Maddie's achievements become even more impressive in perspective of what obstacles she has faced.
My sophomore year, it was a rough start, definitely, because at the beginning of September, I had to go down to CHOP, and I got a pacemaker implanted, so that put me out of the season for 3 months. And so I started December 19th again, and then we had to meet 2 days after that, so I competed in that. And then at that point, I was just excited about getting started, getting into the season, forgetting about that. And so it was just really happy for me to make it to states and just get there.
As crazy as it sounds, the doctors could never even diagnose what caused her heart problem.
We went to CHOP, and all the doctors and all the grad students were there. I got to meet everyone there, but they were all coming into my room, but everyone read my story and nobody had anything to tell me about it. They just knew how to fix it, but they didn't know what caused it, what it was. It just my heart stops. So they put a battery in it, and it's a little jumpstart cable.
Surprisingly enough, Maddie was not bothered by the fact the doctors couldn't identify the issue.
After I had my surgery, I wasn't allowed to leave yet because a complication with it. And so that was the only really frustrating part for me. My parents were a lot more scared than I was because I was 15. I just wanted to get out and start at the high school. It was just annoying more than scary.
Following her challenging sophomore year, Maddie excelled in and out of the pool. As juniors, Maddie and her best friend Emily started the Love Your Brother project at North Penn. They chose to aid the Bayard Taylor Elementary School in Philadelphia. The school was also chosen by the Cole Hamels Foundation to have a playground donated because there is no safe place in a 10-block radius for the children to play. Part of the Philadelphia Public School District, the school is less fortunate and needed the help.
We initially had no idea how we were going to go about it. So the first year was a trial, and so we got everything, the boxes and the morning show, and we just put it all together, and it worked really well. So we did the same thing this year, and it worked just as well. We raised $10,000 the first year we did it, and then $6,000 this year, which is still great.
Through it all, Maddie stays positive and lighthearted about her future with her pacemaker.
It's a big part of my life still because I can't do certain things, but I always find a way to get around it. There hasn't been any complications with it. It's been great. I have like a couple more years on the battery.
Reporting for North Penn News, I'm Lauren Schwartz. Best of luck to Maddie as she continues her driving career at the University of Findlay. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Lauren. SGA has a lot of things going on this month.
Mr. Monero is here with members of the SGA to find out more.
A lot of things is correct. Good morning, North Penn High School. I'm here with Katie Solomon and Robert Gabler, and you guys have 3 events coming up you're going to talk about, so get us started.
Yeah, 3 big events coming up. So this week, we are selling data matches this year. You can buy them at lunch in the senior cafeteria for $3. And if you buy a data match and bring them to Wing Bowl this Thursday night, you can get $1 off admission to Wing Bowl.
Yes, more on Wing Bowl coming up in just a few minutes.
Yeah, so buy your data match and, maybe find a lover.
Also coming up, we have Night Glow on March 6th, and this is a charity event, so it's really important that everyone from the student body comes out and supports it. It's from 7 to 9:30, and we're really hoping to see a big crowd come out and dance and glow for a good cause.
And it's earlier in the year this year, so it's going to be dark out?
So everyone who was complaining about the lights last year, it will be dark this year because the sun will not be out.
It's pretty tough when you complain about the sun. Not really a whole lot you can do about that. Okay, and the last thing you guys have is volleyball, right?
Yeah, so the ICC volleyball tournament is coming up February 26th. It's going to start around 6 o'clock. You can sign up with any club you want because it's ICC is planning it. So what you're going to do is there's forms in the K-Pod reception office. You sign them, get 6 members on your team from any club you want, bring them back to Mr. Berger in D10 with $20, and your team is signed up and can compete in the volleyball tournament.
All right, so good. The only other thing we have to talk about is coming up in just a few minutes, but before we do that, one last thing. Lady Knights Hoops playoff action this Saturday right here at North Penn High School, 1 o'clock versus Downingtown West. Have a great day, North Penn. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Mr. Monero. Dan Sardero is here with the Night Crier update.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Night Crier update. I'm Dan Sardero. Up on the site, we have full coverage of North Penn grad Jonathan Corson and his potential selection to the Kutztown Football Hall of Fame. Also, take a look at our story about this year's Mr. North Penn candidates and learn a little bit about each of the interesting characters vying for this year's title. And look out for our story about course selection and guidance counselors for all you sophomores and juniors out there. Don't forget to visit our webpage, nightcrier.org, for all news North Penn related. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And by the way, I believe last week, Mr. Monero insulted my dancing skills on the announcements. Mr. Monero, I'm calling out to you. I challenge you to a dance-off. You pick the time, you pick the place, but I'm down for it, and we'll see who's the better dancer. I'm Dan Sardero, and this has been the Night Crier Update.
Let's learn some fresh fitness tips with Mr. Fluck and Mr. Frey.
Good morning, and welcome back to Fitness with Fluck and Frey.
Fluck.
Mr. Frey, what do you think we should talk about in this new year?
Well, since our first show of 2015, I think we should talk about New Year's resolutions. A lot of people use the new year as a time to start out some new goals for fitness, getting in shape, losing weight. So you have any advice for them?
I absolutely do, Mr. Frey. Thank you for asking. I think a problem is that people try to change too much. For resolution, just try to change a little bit. Like if you love Thin Mint cookies, you should be able to eat those Thin Mint cookies. Just don't eat the whole sleeve at one time.
There you go, not bad. I think also if you're already exercising, try changing it up. If you like to go and lift weights, try adding some cardiovascular exercise like running, riding a bike, swimming. And if you're the kind of person who likes to go and run every day, you should add some weight training.
Very good. I also think you should work out with a friend, because I know last year Mr. Frey would always slack off and go home after school, but once we started working out, I really held him accountable and got him back in shape.
I don't remember that.
I think it happened, Mr. Frey.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty good. Get us started on the new year.
Agreed. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to be back here with Fitness with Fluck and Frey.
Oh, I forgot to say that. I forgot to say Frank. It was perfect! That's okay. Just finish it.
The Question Squad was out again to find out what your ideal date is for Valentine's Day.
A night at the movies. Skydiving. A walk on the beach.
525,600 minutes.
Netflix and Chick-fil-A. Get a pedicure.
Make Rice Krispie treats together.
The park.
Pizza Hut. A date with Chris Brown. Chipotle.
Toga, 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 toga. Party. Sitting at home watching Netflix with Richie.
Get one of those pizzas that is shaped like a heart.
Stargazing.
On the moon. Dinner, movie, Chuck E. Cheese, and a walk in the park with Lawrence Suarez.
525,000 moments, oh dear.
I want to take Linda to France.
When are we going?
Are you not sure how to tell that special someone how you feel about them this Valentine's Day? Let the men of North Penn High School Chorus tell them for you in 4-part harmony. Buy a singing Valentine either today or tomorrow during lunch for only $5. Make sure to make a memorable day for your special someone or for your even friends or teachers. Also, the Chinese Cultural Club's annual Chinese New Year dinner is coming up. The dinner will be held for $20 per person at the Golden City Restaurant in Friday, February 13th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. Make sure to RSVP with Mrs. Kratz in room A8 or with any of the club officers by February 12th if you are interested.
The African American Cultural Club is back with a journey through Black history.
The struggle for equality in the United States spans generations. This is the historical timeline. April 1861, the Civil War begins.
January 1st, 1863, Emancipation Proclamation issued.
May 1865, the Civil War ends.
December 6, 1865, slavery abolished.
May 18, 1896, separate but equal established.
May 17th, 1954, school segregation struck down.
August 28th, 1963, I Have a Dream speech.
July 2nd, 1964, Civil Rights Act signed into law.
March 7th, 1965, marchers beaten at Edmund Pettus Bridge.
March 21st through March 25th, 1965, Selma to Montgomery March.
April 4th, 1968, Dr. King assassinated.
August 6th, 1965, Voting Rights Act signed into law.
We'll see you next week for our next installment of A Journey Through Black History.
The Wing Bowl is this Thursday in the Senior CAF.
Mr. Berger and Mr. Monero are here with more info on this exciting night.
Oh, they're so good.
Not
oh
bad,
my
man.
God.
Uh-huh.
Am I winning?
Uh-uh.
I love 2-hour delays.
Wings for breakfast.
And 2-hour delay. Dan Sardaro can't dance either, by the way. Terrible. Looks like I won.
Already?
Game over.
I'm savoring.
You got any water?
A little on your face there.
I'm saving it for later. I don't have time to eat lunch today. 2-hour delay bell schedule, you know, short periods.
Yeah.
Pretty good, though.
Woo. Thank you, Mr. Monero and Mr. Berger. Here's the Brumball answer. Here's the answer to this week's Brumball Challenge.
Hey, welcome back. The answer you've all been waiting for. The 1919 Stanley Cup Championship was canceled because of the influenza outbreak throughout the world. So many players were sick that they couldn't even make it past the 5th game. Bet you didn't know that? Now you do. Thanks for playing this week's Brumball Challenge.
The winner of this week's Brumball Challenge is Mrs. McKee.
That's all for this edition of Mornings. I'm Carlos Puentes.
And I'm Zach Arslan. Have a great 2-hour delayed day, North Penn.